pretty sure I was supposed to turn there. We're gonna pretend that didn't happen. What's going on, guys? My name is Ro. Welcome back to another video. Today we are hopping back into Travel and Transport. We're going to be in ATS, starting off here in New Orleans, Louisiana. We're going to be hauling dynamite over to Davenport, Iowa. I believe this is the two most recent DLCs that dropped this year, I think. I don't think they were out when I last played ATS at the end of last year. So I literally just went to load the game and realized there's two new DLCs that I don't have, and I spent the money and got them, so whatever, cool, whatever. But yeah, essentially, we're going to be doing things as kind of a wrap-up of the year, as a year in review and whatnot. That being said, let's go ahead, get the truck fired up, and we will go ahead and hit the road. This is also the first time I've played ATS in a year, so forgive me, my bad shifting, my bad driving in general. Well, the bad driving is normal, but I feel like normally I'm usually pretty good about shifting, and I don't think that's going to be the case today. God, this engine sounds so good. It's also like super loud. I don't even have the windows rolled down. I kind of want to see what this would sound like, or hear what this would sound like if I had rolled it. But we'll see. Maybe I'll leave it open for a little bit here and we can gauge whether it's loud or not. I actually have no idea how long this drive is going to take, but hopefully it is enough and not too much. I can already tell you this engine is too loud with the windows rolled down, so we're going to go ahead and roll that back up so that y'all can hear me and I don't have to do any extra editing. I actually don't think this fixed anything. I think it's still too loud, but whatever. But yeah, this is essentially going to be a year in review as we finish off 2025. Quite a bit that happened this year, both on the channel and outside the channel, in real life. So I kind of wanted to touch up on some things, and also recap a previous video that I had done. So previously, I think last month, I released the I don't think it was last month. I think it was in October, actually. So yeah, previous video that I am mentioning is the video number 1000 on the channel. It was a special edition video to celebrate 1,000 videos, obviously, and it was also where I had announced Vectro 26, which is my new, most recent, current design platform. Now, obviously that was back in October, so we are not breaking enough here. There we go. So obviously that video came out. I touched up on some things. It was mostly revolving around the new design and some changes here and there that had to do specifically with the kind of the new generation of Vectro. And I didn't get too far into it, so I know previously I had mentioned things about things being quietly killed off on the channel, and I didn't dive into that because obviously things were quietly being killed off, so I wasn't saying anything necessarily about them or calling them out. However, this video is going to be a little bit opposite. We're actually going to touch over all of that and go in a little bit more detail as to the what and why, and how and whatnot. So, first things first, let's go ahead and recap 2025. So, as you probably know, I recently celebrated the 11-year anniversary of the channel back in November. My channel officially according to YouTube, launched on November 27th, 2014. So we just recently hit that mark of 11 years. And I'm still doing this. I'm still doing YouTube, still making videos, still talking by myself in a room to a microphone. Can we get it in gear? No, we're just going to kill the truck here. That's fine. Didn't register that I was in a different gear set, so that was cool. Don't mind Toby. Toby eye tracker, as it turns out, sucks. And sometimes it'll just randomly rotate, which is super cool. It has a tendency to freak out a little bit, which is okay. It's okay. It's only several $100s, or I think it's like $200, but whatever. But yeah, built a new PC. It was initially called Vectro Mark II, and I haven't, or Vectro Mark III, my bad, and I have not previously told anyone what the real name was going to be because I didn't know it until last night. However, with some nice creative thinking and whatnot, I landed on the name Frostbite because it is, for starters, it is a mainly white and silver build. So I feel like Frostbite kind of made sense. It's also typically fairly cool, despite the fact that it is now powered by AMD. So that is pretty nice. And I think that Frostbite really does make sense for the name there. I also have no idea if I'm speeding. I'm pretty sure I'm like just barely over the limit, which is fine. But yeah. Another reason for Frostbite, obviously you can't spell Frostbite without RO. So as you would imagine, that had to be factored in some way, somehow. I think I actually have to make this exit. Or maybe not. Nope, it's this way. I lied. But yeah. So Frostbite is the new name, and in it, we got some fun parts. So I made the switch. This was a decision, a pretty big decision that I had made early on into the planning of this build. But I made the switch back away from Intel, and I actually went back with AMD, which is a shocking move given my history with them. But yeah, that was a decision that I had made early on, and I ended up going with an AMD Ryzen 7 9800X3D, which is a very popular, notoriously good processor. So I hope and expect that to power the channel for years to come, and I hope that it doesn't get too hot, because AMD loves to get hot, so that's great. Obviously, the very big, very most expensive, extremely money-hungry part that I could ask for is the graphics card, which getting a graphics card in 2025 is fun. But I actually ended up sticking with the NVIDIA lineup, and the very first part that I purchased for the build, the very first part that I obtained and successfully had in my hands, ended up being the NVIDIA RTX 5080. Initially, I had thought about going with the 5090, but one, I wasn't going to shell out $5,000. Two, I don't need it. I just don't. There's zero reason for me to have a 5090. So I ended up settling on the 5080. I actually got it at its MSRP off of somebody, and I think that is in and of itself quite a feat, given that people are selling this card for $4,000, because people are pieces of fucking shit. So Now you know my opinion on scalping. Let's move on. Ended up going with the same amount of RAM, actually, as my previous build ended up with. So I went with 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM from Corsair. I forgot exactly what the clocking on it is. I want to say 5600, but I'm an idiot and actually have no idea what I'm talking about. So I could be right, but I'm probably wrong. But 32 gigs, that is two 16 gigabyte sticks, and because my motherboard has 4 slots, because quad channel, that means that I can at some point, should I choose to, bump it up to 64 gigs and not have to replace any of my existing RAM. That is once RAM prices come down, because those are astronomically high right now because of AI. So yeah, that's cool, I guess. As far as storage goes, I think this is the part where I actually went overkill and decided to go with, I think it was 10 gig or 10 terabytes total. I'm gonna remember. Yes, 10 terabytes. So I have two 4 terabyte SSDs. One handles like all my games. And actually, I don't know exactly the breakdown right now. I could probably pop it on screen, but there are a lot of partitions on this. So I have, for one, I have Windows installed. Obviously, you have to have the most needed OS for what I do. Unfortunately, it's not the best because it's not Mac, but it is in fact the worst, and so that's what I went with, is Windows 11 Pro. But I don't just have Windows on this PC, so I've decided to give myself a little bit of freedom storage-wise, and I am here and there testing different OSs, obviously Linux being those OSs. That person's merging in. Hopefully they don't slam their brakes like they sometimes do. They are going pretty slow, so I'm just gonna do that. But yeah, I decided to give a try to Fedora KDE Plasma, which is pretty good. I actually really like the experience there. Of course, I had to install the good old trusty Linux Mint as well. That is my go-to when it comes to Linux. And then there is something else that I am going to be attempting to do at some point once I have all the free time in the goddamn world, and that I will probably show off at some point, but I'm not going to say what it is now. So, there is that. Now, storage-wise, that is, again, 4 terabytes, 4 terabytes, 2 terabytes when it comes to SSDs. It is quite a bit. It's overkill, probably. Or, you know, who knows? It might not be. And thank God I have a extra SSD slot should the time come where I need more. But yeah, I have different partitions, obviously, for the OS installations. I have a giant games partition. I have a recording partition. I have a music partition for my music production. I have a graphic design partition for all of my, well, as you probably guessed, graphic design. And then I think that's it. No, that's not it. There is a other partition, which is just where I throw shit randomly so that I can transfer it to other devices, which I'll touch up on in a bit. And then the motherboard is the one piece that actually is kind of a surprise. I was intending to go with a gigabyte motherboard, and unfortunately the one that I got was dead on arrival. So I unfortunately had to go out on an emergency to Best Buy and pick up what they had in stock, and that meant getting an Asus? I think it's Asus? I don't actually remember now. I want to say it's an Asus TUF motherboard. So it doesn't quite fit the aesthetic of my build, and at some point will probably be swapped out, or who knows, I might just not care enough and just stick with it, I guess. So that's cool. But, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I went with a 1,000-watt power supply, because that should be plenty. I don't need the extra power draw. There we go, shifting down. All right, so yeah, that is, I think, it as far as frostbite goes. There is one extra part that I am looking to replace. It's not necessarily in dire need of replacing. I have had it for 5 years. It is the oldest part of technically my build. And it has been a part of the channel, and it has been powering a lot of my channel for obviously 5 years. I got it back in August of 2020, during the pandemic. So had it a while, as you can imagine. Crazy to think COVID was 5 years ago. But anyway, yeah, so that part that I'm talking about is, in fact, my PC Helicon Go XLR mixer. It has been through thick and thin. It has gone through hell and back, and then back again. It's doing all right. I don't necessarily have any real issues with it necessarily. At least none that are drastic. I have had some minor hiccups with it, and I think that might, I don't know, maybe it's my anxiety, but I think it's a sign that I need to swap it out. That's a train. I should stop. I should also not hit the cop. So yeah, thinking of swapping out my mixer. I don't know exactly what I want to go with right now. I'm in the early stages of looking into that. I literally started looking today. But yeah, that is probably in the works for 2026. I don't necessarily know. Come on, truck, go. Yeah, I think the main mixer that I have in mind is going to be from Rode. Obviously known for their audio equipment, microphones, microphone arms. They are a huge company. But I am looking at possibly the Rodecaster Duo or possibly the Rodecaster Pro 2, just because it's $100 more and it offers quite a bit more. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm still in the early stages. I haven't really looked at other brands or anything like that. I just feel like it's time for something to be updated there. I think my microphone is just fine. I really like this microphone since it is from Blue, and it's the early stages when they joined Logitech, so it isn't a piece of shit yet. So I kind of want to avoid that era. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as the computer goes. Now, moving on to the rest of my devices. We have Rogue One, which was my previous build. I ended up rebuilding it and selling it at a nice low cost of $500 to a family member who I will not name because I respect their privacy and whatnot. But yeah, I rebuilt it, and then I think I updated it with a new power supply and a couple of other things here and there to make sure that it felt current. It's still rocking the 9900KF from Intel. It is still rocking the RTX 2080 Ti. But it's been solid too. I haven't really heard any real complaints about it. I mean, obviously it doesn't handle everything you throw at it nowadays, but it's still solid, and it's still a great starting point for gaming on a PC. So, yeah, it was fun rebuilding it and saying goodbye to it and never seeing it again. Additionally, I also have two Mac Minis that help power my network and whatnot. So, My macro server, which is now being renamed to Macro Core, is what powers my kind of like my file server, my media server, home media and whatnot. So I'm going to be saving movies on there, and that's where my YouTube archive is saved to. That's where all my media is as far as like editing. So when I finish recording a video, that is one of the network devices that I move from my PC so that it can carry all my editing files, and then when it's time to edit, I can pull those into my other Mac Mini. But it's also what runs my Discord bot, Toothless. So yeah, it's pretty nice. I'm thinking of kind of redoing how I do my Mac server thing, but I don't know, we'll see. There's some ideas that have popped in my head, but I won't get into that. Now, as far as my other Mac Mini, the now called Macro Media, that is where all the editing happens. That's where all of my animations are created. That's where all my videos are edited, rendered, and then exported out. And then they go back to my server before they get uploaded and archived. So it's a fun little process, and it's nice to have a network that can actually handle it. And it's also not like it's too much of a task on the network either. So yeah, it's pretty nice. They're all hooked up via Ethernet and everything. So yeah, traffic is slowing down here. Speed limit dropped down to 45. We are probably approaching a traffic light because I think traffic has stopped ahead of me. But yeah, past my PCs, what else has changed? I have in fact moved back to Redmond. I am no longer in Renton, Washington, thank God. As some may know, my car was actually stolen, I think like a week or two before I landed on a place in Redmond. I was already looking, I was already planning to move out, and that really made me pull the trigger. So that was fun, but luckily I was able to get the car back and everything same day. Yeah, ended up moving back to Redmond to be closer to work, which is nice because my commute went down from 45 minutes to 5 minutes, which is pretty nice, if I do say so myself. But yeah, I'm in a safer neighborhood now. Yeah, it's been pretty chill. I gotta say, it's been really nice not having to pay for gas as much, and though gas is actually more expensive here, so there's kind of that trade-off. But I haven't been paying as much for gas. I haven't really had to deal too much with the 405 shutdowns and shit like that, which is nice. But that also means I haven't had to deal with the floodings that have happened this past week, so that's pretty nice. Ooh, that was a shift. My God. Also, I brought back San Andreas Law for the Season 4 finale, which was unexpected for everyone, including myself. I had found an episode that I had half recorded. So just a quick recap of how Season 4 went down. Season 4 was a little bit of a break in how I did things. So I was actually recording 2 sessions, one for one officer, one for another officer. And it was a whole strategic thing. So like one episode would feature both of them, but they would be in different agencies. They would be in different sections of the map. Whoops, I am totally lane drifting right now. But essentially what had happened is I recorded one episode before a GTA update released, and then the GTA update released, and I couldn't record the second half of it, so I basically tossed it in the vault and then forgot about it, and then I found it when I was cleaning out my PC. I think that happened around the time that I was getting ready to move on to my new PC, and so I was doing a lot of cleanup at the time, and I stumbled across it, and I was like, well, why don't we just make this a video and just send it off? So that was fun. I also brought back Uno to the channel with a recording session that was recorded back in July of 2024. So that was an interesting surprise It's a video that I had recorded with others, and then I didn't want to edit it because editing Uno is, as you would imagine, fucking boring. Just absolutely miserable. So I just hadn't done it. How close am I getting to people? I really need to be more careful. I mean, Jesus Christ. Yeah, so Uno came back for a split second there. I don't intend to record any more Uno. I don't think I actually intended to record that session of Uno, if I recall correctly, and it just kind of happened. So, cool. But yeah, here's hoping I don't have to deal with Uno again, because my god, it's so boring, and it's also just a huge cause of procrastination. It's great. But I have introduced new content to the channel, new series. So we have Balatro. We've got RV There Yet. Was a pretty solid addition to this channel, though I don't know about the future of it because I have some things in mind on that one. Drive Beyond Horizons was a fun one. I do want to do more of that for sure. Again, there's something in mind for that. And then we also did Fast Food Simulator. So that was Jeremy, Zach, Leslie, and myself. That was pretty fun. Might do more of that at some point. I did play it since then too, so it's not like it was a one-time play and then I dropped it and forgot about it. So no, there's definitely potential there. And then last but not least, once again, celebrated 11 years. I just wanted to touch up on that again. Thank all my viewers, thank all my subscribers, thank all the people who have liked, disliked, commented on videos, as well as all members of Bad Fellas, except for Brad. So yeah, that does it for 2025. We get to move forward now and dip into what's to come. So right now I am exploring new content for the channel, besides what recently has been added. What this means is I am looking at multiple new playthrough series, kind of like how I did Life is Strange, kind of like how I did Mafia 1. Now, I am looking to do Mafia 2, possibly 3, though I don't know if you want to see the same video uploaded over and over again. I'm not really sure, but and then we also have that new Mafia game that came out. I think it's called Old Country, but I don't know. I'm not 100% certain on that one. I also haven't gotten the game because I haven't really been that interested in it. To be honest, the Mafia 3 kind of ruined it for me, so I wasn't too sure on that. Possibly doing a playthrough of GTA 5. Red Dead Redemption 2 was a game that I had initially wanted to be on the channel, and it just didn't happen. Not really sure why. I think by the time it came out on PC, I had already, played it through on the Xbox One, and I wasn't really big on doing it again. And it was going to be a playthrough series from the very beginning. There was going to be some multiplayer stuff, and then Red Dead Online got killed, and yada, 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 yada. I am also looking at San Andreas Law Season 5. It is something I am heavily in the brainstorming process of. I have been doing quite a bit of brainstorming for it. I have been doing a lot of consideration on if this, in fact, will be the final season of this series, because obviously we have GTA 6 coming out, hopefully, in 2026. I know that doesn't mean on PC. I know that PC is still a couple years out as well. It's probably 2029. Okay. Let's ballpark it. Let's ballpark right now. GTA 6 on PC will probably come out 2050. I will be a dead body. Now, yeah, I don't know necessarily if this is going to be the last season of San Andreas Law, and I'm not entirely sure how I want to do things. But yeah, it is definitely something I am working on. And I'm going to not say anything else about that because what I've been working on is super top secret right now. But yeah, we're also looking at re-recording Life is Strange True Colors because unfortunately some files did get lost there or corrupted, and unfortunately that means that I have to basically re-record the entire fucking game with the exception of the DLC. Which is fine because the DLC is actually going to be the first part. It is technically the prologue of the game, which is cool. I'm gonna shift down. So yeah, that's what I'm working on as well. There is another pretty major series that I'm looking at. That would be a spin-off of San Andreas Law. No, it's not Leonida Law, though that is obviously going to be hopefully a thing. I can't really dive too much into the details of it, but it is something that I have been wanting to do for several years. By several years, I mean San Andreas Law came out in 2016. It is something I have been wanting to do since 2016. No joke. This is an actual series that I have been hoping on, and I just really haven't been able to figure it out. So that's something that I do want to change. And it is a new series that would come as a spin-off of that series, and hopefully I can make it happen. So there's two more series that I'm possibly looking at. First one is a bit of an older game, actually. It's the Stanley Parable. I had actually initially been thinking about it since I did the Superliminal series. And then it just didn't come to fruition. Another series, in fact, the only other series I can think of off the top of my head, at least, is The Precinct. Now, that is an interesting looking game, and it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while since I first discovered it. It does look very fun. It does look like a game that would fit well on the channel. I just haven't really had the time to sit down and give it a shot. But hopefully once we get out of the holiday season, as me working in a phone store during the holidays is super busy. Hopefully once we get out of the holidays, I will start to have a little bit more free time and a little bit less stress to focus on things like that. I'd also like to mention that there is a new series that I am working on. I'm currently early into it, and there was a little bit of a sneak peek of it, technically, 7 years ago. I think 7 years ago? Come on, get in gear. Get in gear. Get out of that lane. But yeah, there was a little bit of a hint of it early on into the channel. Back when I did a Just Cause 2 video. And it wasn't really a good example of it necessarily, but I am working on a series called Project Retro. As you can imagine, there's some branding behind that. But Project Retro would, as you could probably imagine, it would feature various older games that I have been able to acquire and could definitely record if I wanted to, or had the time to at least. Some games worth mentioning are LA Rush, there's Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition Remix, there is Bully, there is Battlefield Bad Company 2, and then of course Driver San Francisco. Now a lot of these are racing games. I'm trying to see what other options I have available. There's Mercenaries 2, that's a big one. I actually recently started playing Mercenaries 2 again, thanks to fucking Taylor bringing that up and reminding me of one of my favorite games of all time. So that's cool. But yeah, so this series would focus obviously on older games, and I think it's a really good idea. I'm a little bit hesitant on it, but I'm also just very curious to know how that would turn out on the channel. I think that it's a pretty good concept. I also think that I'm on the wrong side of the highway and I need to be on the left. So we're just gonna do some shit here. Yeah, Project Retro is definitely a series that I am very interested in doing, despite my hesitation on it. I do think that I want to give it a shot. I am compiling a list of games that I would feature, and I kind of want to do it as a pilot test, so there's probably going to be maybe 5 videos, 10 videos that come out of it, and then we'll see how it goes from there. But yeah, no, it's definitely going to be a fun one should I have the chance to do it. So yeah, like I said, LA Rush was one of the games that I played as a kid. I freaking loved it. It was super fun. And there's also Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition Remix, which came out on the PS2 way back in the day, and that was a fun game as well. Driver San Francisco was on the list. Mercenaries 2 is on the list. Bad Company 2 is on the list. Battlefield Bad Company 2 was a fun one. That was the first Battlefield game that I had ever played. But yeah, it was a good one. I also need to mention the previously mentioned bit about games being pulled from the roster of my channel, games that were silently killed off. And I think one of them is going to be pretty obvious, and the other one you'll have already forgotten existed. There's mainly 2 games on this list. In fact, there's only 2 games on this list that I can see. The first one being Rainbow Six Siege is not coming back, period. End of discussion. Well, not end of discussion. I think I need to kind of follow through on the why. When I got Siege back in 2016, 17, somewhere around there, I got it for the Terror Sun. And that is... I mean, that was a big reason why a lot of people got it. Terrorist Hunt was super fun. And then more and more updates came out, and it was more fun. And then they got rid of the bombers, and it became a little bit less fun, but okay, it was still fun. And then they just got rid of it one day. Like, they didn't stop adding to it, they removed it from the game entirely for BS reasons. They said that the game couldn't handle it or something like that. Like, it hadn't been handling it for like 8 years. From that point forward, I decided that Rainbow Six Siege's days were numbered on the channel, and I did play a little bit of ranked. I did feature a little bit of ranked, and it was like, it just wasn't the Siege that I loved. It wasn't the Siege that I enjoyed playing. And I got very bored very quickly from there. Rainbow Six Throwback is what revived the series. If it wasn't for Rainbow Six Throwback, Siege would not have returned to the channel. It just wouldn't have. Rainbow Six Throwback is a command line based tool, a third-party tool that somebody created, that allows users to connect their Steam accounts, so they have to actually like validate that they own the game. And then from there, it allows them to download, install, and play any prior version of Rainbow Six Siege. Obviously, it's for offline use. It's not intended to be used in multiplayer settings. If you try to load up regular multiplayer, it won't fucking work. But that means that you could play, for example, Chimera, whatever fucking version that was, that allows for like the Outbreak event, or obviously, in my case, Terrorist Hunt. So that's how I was able to record a video, or record multiple Terrorist Hunt videos after it had been pulled from the game, is because of Throwback, and it was super nice to have. Unfortunately, the setup for it is a little more complicated than you would think, as you can imagine, because it's a third-party command prompt tool. It does get flagged by Windows pretty hard when it comes to like firewall, virus protection, shit like that. So you have to go through hoops to get it to work, which is unfortunate because I enjoyed using it. I just did not enjoy setting it up. And maybe there's a chance it comes back, but I don't see the reason why it should. I think that Rainbow Six Siege, having been on my channel for like 10 fucking years or whatever, I think that's long enough. I don't think there's a reason to revive it at this point, and that's also kind of the reason why San Andreas Law is probably on its way out. But I digress, as Jay's 2 cents would say. Yeah, it just became too complicated to set up, and the fact that I got my new PC meant that I would have to set it up again, and I didn't want to go through that effort again, so I just decided not to, and the series just died, and that was fine. I was fine with that. I already had my closure, and I brought it back from the dead, and that was fun while it lasted, but all good things must come to an end, and so did that series. It's just that. The other series that is not going to return, probably, it is marked as indefinite, so it isn't permanent, unlike Siege. But the other series is Ghost Recon Wildlands. I mean, that game came out in, what, 2017? I've recorded videos since 2017. If you're a longtime viewer of the channel, you'll know that I was part of the betas for Ghost Recon Wildlands, and don't get me wrong, it is a great game. I enjoyed the shit out of it. The problem is, I just don't play it anymore, and I don't have too much of an interest in it to pick it up again. And I know that my friends are on board with exactly that mindset, and we haven't recorded in over a year. And that's probably fine. It's probably just going to stay that way, unfortunately. Again, I enjoyed playing... Why does it look like it's about to rain? Like, it really looks like it's about to rain, and I don't like that, because driving in the rain sucks. Yeah, Ghost Recon Wildlands, you probably forgot it existed on the channel already, and that's fine, because you can still keep on forgetting that it existed on the channel. It's probably not coming back. Now, what is coming back, what is sticking around, are a few things. Obviously, Ready or Not has to stick around. I mean, Ready or Not is kind of just the replacement series of Siege. That was my whole intent when I started playing and recording and uploading it to YouTube. My intent when I initially introduced Ready or Not for the channel was it was eventually going to be the successor series to Rainbow Six Siege. It was the replacement, and now it's true. And it's going to keep going because the game is still getting updated. They haven't removed the AI. It's not a buggy piece of shit. You don't have to worry about fucking modders. Shit like that. It doesn't have anti-cheat because it doesn't need anti-cheat, whereas Siege needs anti-cheat, and BattleEye? Really? You call that anti-cheat? Anyway, yeah, I want to continue doing Ready or Not. I know that my friends, I know that Bad Fellas want to keep doing Ready or Not. It's a good series, and it's sticking around, period. Now, moving on, we also have music and mixes. That's still in the works, and I'm going to shut up about that because there's quite a bit going on there. San Andreas Life, as you could probably imagine, is sticking around. It's one of the easiest series to record. It's one of those series that I can just go into a game, hit record, and we're just good to go. Except, unfortunately, I had recorded about 7.5 to 8 hours of gameplay over the course of 3 nights, featuring myself, Jacob, Jeremy, and Dan. And unfortunately, of those 7.5 to 8 hours of fucking hard work, game audio wasn't present for about 5.5 to 6 hours of those recordings. A majority of those recordings, as I found out last night. So, unfortunately, that's an issue that happens, and it isn't only happening in GTA 5. It is an issue that has been happening actually quite a bit in other games, and I just haven't said anything about it until now, but I am addressing it now. NVIDIA, fix your shit. Just, I don't even know if this video that I'm recording right now is going to have game audio, because I just do not trust NVIDIA Share enough to believe that this is actually getting game audio recorded. For whatever reason, it's a weird bug going on with NVIDIA Share. It's been something that I've been dealing with since this new build, and unfortunately, there's nothing I can do to fix that. There are some ways I can mitigate it if I really try, and I'm trying to do that now. And one of those fixes is I simply do not ever, under any circumstance, Alt-Tab out of the game after I start recording. The downside is there's a number of reasons why I would need to be Alt-Tabbing out of the game. And I'm not going to go down that lengthy list. That's a lot to cover, and I'm not going to, because I just don't want to. But yeah, unfortunately, San Andreas Life is affected by that issue, and I love doing San Andreas Life. Normally, it's as easy as load game, record game, play game, stop recording, leave game. It's usually that easy. So it's definitely sticking around for as long as I can possibly do it. Even once GTA 6 comes out, by the way. There's longevity to this series. Let's see here. Minecraft is another one. Minecraft is another series that is definitely sticking around. There's also Brighton Law, the police roleplay series based out of Boston in police simulator patrol officers. Super fun game. It was started off by myself and Zach as a collaborative project. As we neared the end of Season 1, Dan came into the fray when Zach's availability started to not line up with mine. And then Jeremy's joined in as well, and that is something that we do want to continue doing at some point. I just don't know when. There is also Among Us. Now, Among Us, it's a good game. It's been on the channel since COVID. There is no reason why Among Us would go anywhere. It is definitely one of my favorite series to record. The downside is availability. Obviously, Among Us is best when you have multiple people. The more, the merrier. And unfortunately, the big thing is lining up schedules. All right, we have pretty much everyone working full-time jobs. So there's a lot of the time where the schedules just don't align. But don't think for a second that Among Us is actually going to be killed off or canceled or whatever on the channel. That is definitely a series that I want to keep going. It is definitely a series we all want to keep going. The big thing is just scheduling. When Badfellas is at whatever number we're at now, 16 maybe? I don't know. Not Brad. When we have this many people, getting a scheduled event is a lot harder than you would imagine. For example, we are doing a convoy in ETS2 tomorrow, which is why I've set up my wheel and set up Tobii Eye Tracker for the first time since switching to my new PC. And that is why I'm playing this game now and doing a test recording. But yeah, that convoy, we have no idea who's going to be in it. It might literally just be Jeremy and I. It might get canceled. We might have Dan. Who knows? I don't know. I don't think God knows. Mainly because God's not real. Last but not least, a real last topic I could think of, which is fine. I could probably stretch this out enough. We'll see. How about that? Just give it a shot. Travel and Transport. It's a series you might know, especially because you're fucking watching it now. This very second. I know. It's a shock. Travel and Transport is a series that I introduced several years back. I want to say it was 2021, but honestly, I have zero clue when it started. The big premise around Travel and Transport is simulation content that involves travel and transport. I think that's pretty obvious. ATS has been featured. Tourist Bus Simulator is how it started. Bus Simulator 21 was supposed to be on it. I don't remember if it was ever actually featured. ETS2 was actually supposed to be one of the biggest parts of the series, and it never happened until tomorrow. But as time goes on, it's time to reevaluate how I want to do it. Now, Travel and Transport was essentially the culmination of the worldwide franchise. But as I've introduced new stuff to the channel, I have kind of started to think about how I want to move forward with Travel and Transport, how I want to evolve it. I don't want to kill it. That's not my intent here. Though it was at the beginning of the year, but we're gonna ignore that. Obviously we have introduced RV there yet. We've introduced Drive Beyond Horizons. Forza Horizon 5 has been on the series. That's actually one that I forgot to mention earlier, but yeah. So there's been a lot of stuff that technically could fit into Travel and Transport, and I think that I want to kind of reevaluate, restructure Travel and Transport as a whole. Now, I think that when it comes to racing content, I think that's going to be a spin-off series. Because I feel like Forza Horizon 5 would do well on a series with, say, Test Drive Unlimited Solar Ground, The Crew, Motorfest, games like that. I don't think it would do well as part of Travel and Transport, and I don't think it would do well on its own, as I have noticed and abruptly ended. Now, I am still reevaluating the regular Travel and Transport series. I think this is an exit lane that I want to get out of, so I don't know why I entered that. Nope, that was an exit lane I actually need to be in, otherwise I die, so that's cool. But yeah, the big thing about Travel and Transport is the simulation. It's about the journey and not killing people. Now, I honestly don't have any real interest in continuing with bus simulator content, which is probably why you've never seen it. Yeah, when it comes to like Bus Simulator 21, don't get me wrong, it's a decent game. It's just not that good, to be honest. I have mixed feelings about the game in general. They did rebrand it at some point, but even that I don't think is enough to save it. So, that being said, Bus Simulator content is no longer going to be on Travel and Transport. It's also just not going to be on the channel in general, as you would imagine. Let me go ahead and shut the engine off so we can pump up the gas. Or diesel. Once we take those away, what are we left with on Travel and Transport? Well, there's spin tires, Mud Runner, Snow Runner, whatever. Those have been featured. Well, that has been featured a couple of times on the channel under the Travel and Transport name. Obviously that leaves us with ATS and ATS2, but it doesn't really leave us with much else. So, that being said, I think the logical thing to do here is we bring in RV there yet as part of the series. I think that RV there yet having its own series doesn't make sense because we really honestly don't record it that much, and it having its own series that will only sporadically show up doesn't make sense, if I'm being honest. So, that being said, RV there yet is basically joining Travel and Transport effective now. Additionally, I'm also looking at adding Drive Beyond Horizons. Just like with RV there yet, it's not frequent enough to have its own series. It just doesn't make sense. And then yeah, we'll probably do like a racing series that is a spin-off of... There's not an exit down there. We're gonna just do some dank shit here. We're gonna hit this little... Oh god, oh god, oh god. Ugh. Okay, we're good. And who knows, if, you know, Project Retro does really good, then Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition Remix and LA Rush might actually join whatever this series is going to be. Okay, are you going or not? What are we doing here? Can we figure it out? Because I would really like to go, guys. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking for Travel and Transport and kind of the future of the channel in general. So another game that came to mind as far as being added to this channel is Inzoi. Now, I previously featured The Sims on the channel, mainly to focus on one of the DLCs that came out for it, called Eco Lifestyle, if I recall correctly. I think that's the name. Inzoi is a fairly new game. I think it came out this year. And it is not from the creators of The Sims, but it is a competitor of The Sims, and it is gorgeous. Just hyper realistic graphics. It looks gorgeous. I don't know necessarily how I would do that series if I were to do a series out of it, but it looks... I mean, it's a fun game. I've played it quite a bit. Now, there's no mod support currently, or at least it's very light on mod support for reasons. But yeah, it is definitely a very promising game, especially since The Sims 5 was in fact canceled. So we will not be getting another Sims game. I think that, one, I'm heartbroken over that news. That came out quite a while ago now. But two, I think that Inzoi is a solid game. It has a lot of potential, and there's also a couple of other games that are coming out that are going to be kind of sim-like. Paralives, if I recall correctly, is one that's coming. There was originally going to be one from the creators of City Skylines. Unfortunately, as promising as that one was, they just up and decided they didn't want to do it. I think it had way more potential than Sims 5, to be honest, did. And it just got dropped out of nowhere. Nobody was expecting that news. It was pretty bad. And then the other game that I am thinking of is called Keep Driving. Now, I don't know necessarily how that series would go, but I think that would make sense as a kind of its own series, just because it is a solo game. There is no multiplayer. At least I can't imagine there being multiplayer. It's a nice little arcadey game. It's also on the fairly chill side, so it wouldn't be the action-packed adventure or simulation adventure that you would expect on the channel. It does fit in its own bubble when compared to other content that I do on the channel. So yeah, but I mean, I've played a little bit. I know Jeremy has played it a little bit. It is actually a pretty fun game, and it's a game that I've been considering for a while on the channel because I actually enjoy it. Now, again, I don't know how I would do it. I don't know when I would start recording it or anything. But I'm hoping that by, I want to say by February, so basically a month from whenever this video comes out. I'm hoping by then I'll have some pretty solid answers when it comes to new content that's coming to the channel. Because obviously, like I said, there's going to be a bit of a shift in my workflow in real life at my job, because once the holidays pass, it's going to be pretty typically slow. So I'm going to have quite a bit more free time and a bit more time to actually like think and sit down and work on these projects and whatnot. But it looks like we are approaching our destination here in Davenport, Iowa. Couple of left turns here and we should be good to go like NASCAR. And there we go. In total, we made 123k and almost 3,000 XP out of that, which is fine because I'm level 88. I don't think I really unlock anything else at this point. But yeah, that is going to wrap it up here at 3:26 a.m. in real life. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of Travel and Transport. Thank you for joining. Obviously, there's a lot that's going to have to be chopped up and I gotta figure out how to actually turn this into one single video and not two, unless I could turn it into two. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you guys enjoyed as always. If you did, feel free to leave a like on the video, comment down below if you have suggestions or feedback for me. And if you want to stay up to date and see the newest content as soon as it's available, please, by all means, subscribe to the channel. I do intend to kind of bring Travel and Transport back now that I've gone through all the hell of trying to set up my Tobii eye tracker and a wheel. It is always fun to hop in here and yeah, do all this trucking stuff. Also, I hope you enjoyed the new intro song for this series, because I created that pretty much right after the last Travel and Transport dropped, and I've been waiting to use it until now. So yeah, but hope you guys enjoyed. My name is Ro, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Deuces. It's my